Welcome back, people, for another episode of the Jagged Edge. This is Ian here, along with Chris.
What's up, everybody? I'm testing out microphone number, 97?
Something like that. Trying to kill the echo.
Yeah, let's see if we can get this right this time. We're being so lazy about it.
Good old headsets. Tell you what, depending on which one you have, they might wear in your ears. But
I'm an animated character. I literally am. I'm right out of Warner Brothers cartoons. I like to move around, so yeah, that echo we were getting was because I'm all over the place. Hey, I got feels for it, and I like to animate my feels.
And you're probably just catching some of your outbound speakers. But let me ask you this: though, is your headset Acme?
No.
Darn.
And I don't have acne either.
Okay. Well,
there we go with the dad jokes. We're starting off really bad. What happens?
If acne and acme were synonymous, I think Wile E. Coyote would have really had more problems. Though he did.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Though he did catch the Roadrunner with it once that I saw.
He did. He did. So hey, when I was a kid, I mean, a lot of those Looney Tunes cartoons came out long before my time, and I'm pretty old. But so like you had all the acne stuff, and I remember watching this and I'm like, what the hell is acne? Were you like that too? Like you never like what is this company? And why do they make so much different stuff?
I'm with you. I thought the same thing.
So they make anvils, and mainly anvils and explosives. A lot of both.
Yeah.
But they made other things too. But it's like, man, it's like, wow, this company they make a lot of stuff.
Sometimes
and I've never seen this stuff in real life. So I actually thought it wasn't a real company, but come to find out it was.
Except, their stuff was always defective. Oh, well.
Nah. I'll segue you. Speaking of defective, let's go right into the first one.
All right, that's the Terminator sequel. James Cameron, he announced a special T2 screening that will be a new Terminator trilogy. This is going to be with Tim Miller, a.k.a. Deadpool, directing, and also Linda Hamilton returning to play as Sarah Connor. Sweet! I think Tim himself was saying that they're taking Terminator back to the basics, making for a solid sci-fi story.
Yeah. So, what do you think? We talked about this a few weeks ago when it was announced that James Cameron's going to be getting the rights back, and he was saying how he was considering doing this if. What was he saying? Basically, if he thought that people would want to see this again,
right?
I don't think he asked that question for very long.
No,
but it's to be this far, they've already got plans. They're saying Arnold's going to come back. He's going to be in his early 70s, late 60s when this comes out.
I'm honestly this is one of those series I'm honestly sort of surprised we have not seen some form of at least attempted reboot like this, or even earlier. I could be wrong, but
no, they've tried twice. Salvation wasn't really much of a reboot as much as it was the beginning of a new trilogy, but they took it to the future, and they were going to start showing the actual futuristic war, which they did. Salvation doesn't get the credit that it should. It's a good popcorn action thriller type movie. I get people's complaints as far as the logic of some of it, but it's still a fun, awesome action flick. Christian Bale is, he's as awesome as he usually is in his role. He gives it everything in it. You have not seen this yet, if I remember correctly. You need to make an issue to see that movie. Genesis was supposed to be a bit of a reboot. Terminator 5, of course that went over so well that here we are. They haven't even made the second or third one. Here we are again. I remember kind of ironic. I was commenting on the fact that Linda Hamilton, who has not been in them since Terminator 2, is coming back.
Yeah,
and maybe she's been the missing ingredient. Well, here we go.
Could well be. And this is, when I think about it, Terminator is one of those I think that would sort of struggle. You take this out of Sarah Connor, outside of John and Skynet, and try to base it in something else. I think that would feel a little too loose, a little too odd. Like, hey, Sarah Connor's now Jennifer Miller, or hey, I don't see it.
I'm not excited yet. I guess I want to be. I really want to be excited about sci-fi, time traveling cyborg killing robots. The futuristic hope of the world and trying to keep him alive until he can become so. At this point we're well past that. If it's going to take place in modern time. In my understanding is, I heard this. I did not have this confirmed, but I heard that they're going to ignore Terminator 3 and on. So
Really?
Terminator 1 and 2 happened, but the rest hasn't. I don't have that confirmed yet, but that seems like a logical step. Where is John Connor?
Yeah.
Did the war happen? I'm hearing a little bit about how maybe this is going to be a critique on AI in modern day, and how we have real AI now. It's not killer robots,
Right.
but give it a couple more years.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Heard that,
Yet. Trademark.
yeah, I heard the new iPhone is going to be pretty crazy, but
And don't even get into what was it? I forget with the Apple mapping service. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those trucks driving around.
no, I've seen some stuff. I've not actually seen them in person, but
Yeah, the joke is, those drive around, mapping everything to give like the satellite views and stuff. It's Apple slowly taking over the world and mapping things to
right.
paper anywhere, anytime.
Well, I've been saying since the '90s that I will welcome our Android overlords, and I will. I'll rat out the human race for survival, and to even if they need to turn me partially into a cyborg, I'll accept it. I'm good for this, but I want to hear more. I guess that's the whole thing. Linda Hamilton's coming back. That's cool. She's older now. She's pushing in her 50s, I think, 50s and 60s. I hear she's already in the gym getting ready for this.
Nice.
Sure. That's something, and it is probably the one angle they haven't tried yet with Terminator franchise is bringing Linda Hamilton back. So.
Yeah.
For me, it's like I want to be excited about it. Why not? You've tried everything else. Let's try this. I think that's the thing, is that everybody wants this to work, but I think no one's expecting it to, because it hasn't so far.
Right. Yeah, it struggled to find its legs, but let's see where it goes. Also, remind me to stay away from you in that kind of post-apocalyptic future. You would make a really good overseer.
Yeah.
Like
no,
part cyborg.
I would. If it's a zombie apocalypse, you're fine. That's all about saving humanity. But if it's robot overlord AIs, you're done. You're done. I'm selling you out.
Got it.
Because, immortality as a zombie, I'm not interested in. Immortality as a robot, I'm all for. Plug me in. Let's do it. Yeah, Tim Miller. Deadpool's great. I looked to see what else he'd done, if anything else memorable. I didn't see anything, so that's kind of up in the air. Deadpool again was awesome, but that's a very different kind of movie. That doesn't tell me a heck of a lot. The action in that film was pretty good, but it was all very slapstick too. So I don't know if it's going to work. I hope so. I hope so. I guess keep an eye on it. It'll be released at some point. It's all very pre-production right now. So
got it. Let's speaking of movies, I do want to cut to Thor Ragnarok. You had a good note in that. This surprised me in two parts here. One, about the director is possibly looking at directing a live action adaptation of Akira.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of getting your hopes up this week. A lot of our news.
Yeah,
this is awesome, but it may not happen. Yeah. So what is it? And I think with the notes I had the name wrong. I want to see if you get this though, because I love how you pronounce people's names.
So you're saying this name is intentionally spelled
the
wrong.
L shouldn't be there.
Okay. Tiaka?
There you go. Why not?
All right. Tiaka Waitoti.
There you are. I think that's right.
Waitoti toddy, tomato, potato. Leave it at that. Is in negotiations with Warner Brothers apparently to direct 2 movie adaptations of the Akira manga. Each movie is looking to cover 3 books of the manga. Man.
I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, same.
And just like Tim Miller, I could not find anything noteworthy of other movies that he's done, but just the trailers from Thor so far have me excited, and we're going to talk about that later. Like you said, this is 1 or 2 parts for Thor Ragnarok, but if the movie turns out the way those trailers are, I think I think this is the right guy for the job so far.
Yeah, and man, look, this takes me back. We've been hearing about Akira adaptations, Leonardo DiCaprio, you name it,
for at least a decade now. Is how long I've been following them.
Oh, for years, and this stuff's been memed, on YouTube before, an Akira ultra westernized version with like fast food chains and stuff. It just became the subject of jokes. It'll never happen, etc. But this is one of those sleeping time bombs that has amazing potential if handled right. Hearing that they're taking source material from the manga is awesome. Usually it's only the film itself that I see attention focused on.
Right.
But that's good.
Well, and honestly, yeah, out of all the rumors and everything that's been talked about for the Akira live action adaptations, it's been mainly focused on the manga. Again, you go to Leonardo DiCaprio when he had the rights to it. That was a real thing. He actually had the rights to making an Akira movie. He was going to base it on the manga as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that I like, and I have not read the manga, but I mean, to say that Akira wasn't an inspirational movie to me would be a huge lie. That movie changed where I wanted to go, which is always ironic. We always comment how ironic that is because I'm not a fan of anime, but I do. I love that movie. I have multiple versions of it. Always a fan. It's been a while since I watched it. I need to watch it again. I don't have a Blu-ray version yet. I should probably pick one up.
There you go.
Yeah, so I want to get excited about this now. What bothers me about this is that Warner Brothers has it.
Yeah.
And if you want to look at Warner Brothers' views on adaptations, you need to look no further than the DCEU. So I want to be excited about this. I really do. We'll see. Now the fact that this guy, I'm going to try it now, Taika Waititi, how'd I do?
Kind of like Kawasaki. Good,
sure.
good on the first end.
Okay, all right. Well, that guy, the Thor Ragnarok director, he's not, again, all we've seen is a trailer, but I'm loving what I'm seeing. So far for Thor Ragnarok. So I mean, I think this could be a recipe for something really great.
Same. Awesome.
So we'll have to see.
Did you want to, you want to cut that second part of what we're talking about in Thor, or you want to handle our other piece first?
No, let's talk about that trailer.
Yeah.
This was real simple.
Yeah.
They came out with a 1987 retro trailer for Thor Ragnarok. You can find it on YouTube. It is awesome. It's so great. It's so now I was a child of the 80s. I believe you technically were a child of the 80s, but because you were born in the 80s, I actually grew up in the 80s.
Right.
I mean, movies and trailers looked like this. It almost needs to be dated a few years earlier, though. They say it's a 1987 trailer, but it looks more like your mid to early 80s fantasy trailers, because it doesn't quite have the polish that the late 80s trailers did. This is amazing. If you're a fan of what Marvel's doing, you need to go check this out. I just Googled Thor Ragnarok retro trailer and I found it. It's so awesome. It's great 80s special effects. Everything you ever wanted, and the best part is, and I don't want to, let's not spoil it for them. Let's make them go find it. What they do with the Hulk is just awesome. It's exactly what they should do with the Hulk.
No, I couldn't agree more. This one was a real treat, complete with the semi hokey flame effects and everything else you remember from 80s film. This is just a gem. Really came out of left field. Super pleasant surprise. It's funny because this whole 80s theme has steadily been rolled more and more into some of the pre-production releases for Thor. It was really, I thought, an aesthetic for the title first when they were saying the kind of buddy adventure, galaxy hopping and stuff like that with Thor and Hulk, and now it's just spilled into just full blown with this. So hilarious stuff. Please, you need to go check it out.
Yeah. Now, I forgot to bring this up when it came out. I think about a month ago or so. Did you see the 70s music video that they came out with for Guardians of the Galaxy before the DVD was released?
I did. I did.
You did? That is so great. Oh my gosh. I watched that thing like 5 times in a row. That was so awesome.
Man.
Yeah, so I'm loving what they're doing with this stuff. I mean, they've been doing this for years. A lot of people don't know about the shorts that they've come out with that complement the movies and such. Small little pieces of canon and such with that. Yeah, Marvel, they just, hey, you know what? They've got a good product. They're having fun with it. They give plenty for fans to be happy about.
And it's good choices and decisions marketing wise. It's interesting. We become pretty tied to so many of these characters. Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of Iron Man. You have obviously Thor and everyone else. And man, it's gonna make the last Avengers so crushing, that much more crushing.
Which one? You mean Avengers 4?
Yeah.
Oh, because they're saying a lot of people are going to be done at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So but that's good. I mean, you need material like that, I think, to make characters like this icons and to make them endearing. Not just the characters themselves, but those who play them. So keep it up, Marvel.
There was a rumor. I wasn't sure if I want to talk about this or not, but since we're talking about Marvel, we're talking about trailers. There's a rumor that the Avengers Infinity War trailer's dropping next week.
Really?
And did you hear about that?
No, I did not.
I can't find any source confirming anything, though, so I wasn't sure if I was going to bring it up. But, I just did. Rumor, people. It's a rumor.
Well, and there's been that, what was that, was that Comic-Con, the exclusive footage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be that trailer.
Yeah, we know it's out there. We're just waiting to actually get official word on it, so.
Yeah, waiting to not see a fuzzy version.
Awesome. All right. Moving right in line with our comic continuum. Except this isn't Marvel. We're talking about DC. Lex Luthor going to be cut from the Justice League movie.
How do you feel about that? Just on face value. Before we get into all the specifics of that, how do you feel about that?
Man, we have so little to base this Justice League movie off of anyway. I'm a
fan of Jesse Eisenberg's version of Lex Luthor?
Oh yeah.
Okay, most people weren't.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was fine. Like, I don't know. I want to say that stems from having, and I can't speak for everybody. I want to say that stems from having some sort of base of this is what Lex Luthor should be. My thing is, especially not following DC Comics as closely and whatnot, I don't have that same kind of basis. So perhaps maybe that's just because I see him through that just more painted and dry megalomaniac perspective, and I'm not as
I agree. I was fine with it too. No, I have friends who are much closer and follow DC a lot more who have hated it, and the general consensus was that people didn't like it. I'm fine with it. I guess. I mean, most of what I know about Lex Luthor comes from. I would have to say it starts with the Superman movies, and then fleshes out from cartoons and such. So I mean, I'm okay with this version. They made him do some stupid stuff. I mean, they entangled him in a plot that didn't make a lot of sense. That's certainly not Jesse Eisenberg's fault.
No.
I'm okay with it. So okay. So I'll let you get onto the beef of that story, but yeah.
Yeah, this was, their report came from, what was it, Batman News?
Yeah, Batman News.
Love it. It was reported that Joss Whedon cut Justice League, which was a very, very limited viewing for select fans, currently doesn't have Lex Luthor in it. It should be noted that this was not the final cut of the film, and he could be reinserted back in the movie. The rumors have been around for about a month or so now that the cut was actually going to happen, and was initially said he was going to have a kind of small role to begin with. Yeah. Going back to what I said earlier, while I don't really have any basis for how that affects the JLA movie itself, I instantly question continuity. And I say that because of this. The whole point is we're now in a film world here post Superman. It's sort of that death of Superman gloom that set in. And all the catalysts for that, we recognize that was Lex Luthor. So, I think it's one thing if you totally axe the guy out of the universe, maybe another if you just don't have him having much to do with this current plot, which wouldn't hurt things. I mean, look, he wasn't a free man by the end of Batman versus Superman anyway.
Yeah, the spoiler, he was in prison.
Yeah, he's jailed. He's contained. I guess if you want to do some weird quick rewrite about how he broke out, or about how he's pulling the strings from behind the scenes, so be it. But I don't see how that breaks things.
Quite honestly, and I think a lot of people might be leaning towards the fact that he's been cut out because he wasn't so popular. I can agree with what you're saying, that maybe the best thing to do is to not even see him until Man of Steel 2, and have the Superman Lex Luthor confrontation there, which would be very interesting to see.
It would. These two it goes beyond, I think, just a power dynamic. It's an obsession for Lex Luthor. They're night and day differences, both in views and personality, and just their whole general approach towards the world.
And as messy as it was in Batman v Superman, this was actually fairly intriguing. Again, it was a hot mess, and they didn't have to do the whole thing with the piss in the jar. But that was a little off. As much as I enjoy a good gag like that, it just seemed really off and out of place in a movie that already wasn't making much sense to have a joke like that. Just, it wasn't done well.
Right.
There's something very intriguing about the fact that he was directly responsible for Superman's death, and for him to he's going to come back in Justice League. There's going to be a Man of Steel 2. I'll say it, and I don't get to say it much, but I'll say it right now. I would be looking forward to that confrontation.
Ditto.
Let's see Lex Luthor get into a giant mech suit and fight it out with Superman. We've seen that in so many different ways. Why not here?
Oh, we have, which has always been his approach. Unless he finds a way to get a hold of some kryptonite and makes himself a crazy battle suit.
I think what's got me excited about this is that, so much of what we haven't gotten from the DCEU is versions of some very classic things. And I think a classic Lex Luthor versus Superman confrontation is exactly what that franchise could use.
I agree.
That being said, that's probably exactly why we'll never see it.
If only, I guess, more could be taken out of the pages of what Wonder Woman did right, out of taking strong foundations from the origin story, using that to build antagonists, using that to build up villains. That works.
Yeah. But you have to remember, what, as great as Wonder Woman was, and it's a good movie, it's a really good movie, where it failed, in fact, its biggest failure was its continuity to the DCEU.
Yeah, this is true.
And a lot of people, I remember it was the first time I'd heard either, anybody say it, and I knew we weren't the only ones to say it, but I've heard it in multiple occasions now. Where the hell has she been for the last 100 years? You decide to become a hero, and then after World War I, you just sit everything out. Especially when they dropped nukes and everything, and that probably would have, that war probably would have been a good time to get in and do some stuff. I understand. Well, what are we going to do? Tell a whole nother story? Well, no, but then don't put yourself in that corner.
Right. Yeah. Success that created some trouble. So
clearly this world does not know who she is. She's disappeared.
Yeah.
But so no, I agree. Again, good movie, and like we said for the review, it was a great standalone.
Yeah.
But as far as it being placed into this world, it doesn't do much for it. In fact, it kind of hurts it. So I don't know. We'll see if they address that in Justice League. Maybe not. But they're not addressing Lex Luthor apparently.
Well, hopefully, hey, I say slot him for Man of Steel and see where we go from there.
Yeah.
Moving right along, right with our movies, we got a Tomb Raider trailer that dropped.
Oh, boy.
With the success that's come from the sort of rebirth of Lara Croft, with the game Square, EA been involved in, and just not just the reviews they've gotten, I think just how well they played out. Now, I didn't play the one after. I know I played the first.
Okay, so we're laying down context here?
Yeah.
Okay. So I owned, I think, like the first 5 Tomb Raider games.
Oh, classic! Way back when. Nice.
And I would say it's a safe bet that that's what they based the original Tomb Raider movies on. Well, at least the first one, which was okay. Angelina Jolie, she did the heavy lifting for that, and she did as good as she could. The second movie was not very good, and I've seen it. It's kind of like the Thor movies, the first two Thor movies. I've seen them multiple times, but I couldn't tell you a damn thing about them. It's instantly forgettable.
Yeah.
Instantly forgettable.
It's a bummer.
So I know Tomb Raider, the Square Enix has its hand on now, and it's been wildly successful. I have not played them. I'm glad to see that this iconic character has been brought back to life. It's always a shame that there's been multiple occasions where they've tried to do it and it hasn't worked out. I'm glad that has happened.
Yeah.
So that's my background on this. Now, what's yours? What have you played for Tomb Raider?
For Tomb Raiders, it was this is actually pretty funny. On the original PS1 series and the rest, and even PS2. I stayed clear, man. The most I ever played was the original Tomb Raider 2. I played a bit of like a demo for that. I never owned any.
You didn't touch it, huh?
Sure didn't.
Wow. See, and I'm not a big fan of action puzzle platformers like that. A bit more into the puzzles.
Right.
Some of my favorite games are Ico and don't even tell me I pronounced that wrong. Doesn't matter. It was like it's not Ico. It's Ico.
There you go.
Ico. It's Shadow of the Colossus, which is a bit more action-oriented, but these are story-driven puzzle games. It's very safe to say Tomb Raider was not story-driven.
Right.
In fact, I couldn't tell you a single thing about what the stories were. I had as much fun playing around in the mansion as I did actually playing the game, kicking the butler around. That was always fun. Yeah, but I mean, they were classic, groundbreaking games, especially the first two Tomb Raiders. I mean, when Tomb Raider came out, there wasn't anything like that, and I know that's almost an impossible thing to fathom at this point where we are with gaming. There was not a 3D game like that yet. So groundbreaking as far as what it was. But I mean, like one of our favorite series where it was groundbreaking when it originally came out, it just didn't grow with the times.
No.
And it just didn't age well. And so eventually it just completely fell flat. Yeah, so again, my background. I'm surprised you... So when is the first time did you ever own any Tomb Raider game?
Never did.
Even to this date?
To this date.
Wow. So the new one that has come out is actually on my list of games to buy. I do want to get that at some point. I was a little surprised that I was going to get it for my my niece and nephew who are starting to delve into gaming a bit, and I was going to get it for them, and I noticed it had a mature rating. I'm like, whoa!
Right.
Did not expect that from Tomb Raider. All right, well, I guess I'll get them something else. I get them Transformers game.
Man, but
so there you go.
Yeah, again, the trouble you always worry about with these is the whole video game adaptation-itis that these movies so often suffer from.
Oh, they suck. They're horrible.
Yeah, it's just it's always been a really tough formula. It's an uphill battle instantly. It also doesn't help that on some of the initial posters for this, now social media went pretty nuts on this stuff, man.
So awesome.
It's hilarious though. Yeah, with the I think it started with the horse neck.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
That's so great. The way that people react on social media sometimes drives me crazy. But then there's situations like this where I'm like, this is all completely appropriate. Every bit of this is so.
It fits. And what I was saying, the whole deal that tripped people out was Alicia Vikander's like unusually long neck.
Yeah, no, they obviously just altered that neck, and it's so bad. It's in the mocks, the mock-ups that were done of this is just they had me going when I first saw that.
Yeah.
So I was laughing for like half an hour. I'm like, I need more. Need more people doing this. This is so great.
I think my favorite from this was the Thor Ragnarok spoof of Chris Hemsworth's super long neck.
Yep. I like the giraffe one.
Yeah.
Why did they do that? I mean, right there is just...
Yeah.
You're going too far. You're going too far. This is too much.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
But, stylistically, the new take on Tomb Raider, gaming-wise, it's pretty successful. I think adapted to the big screen.
It looks great.
Yeah, it does. It looks solid. Looks like
I'm talking about the game.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm talking about the game.
No,
okay, so let's talk about the trailer. What did you think of the trailer?
Now here's the thing. I'm still not feeling the
let's
whole...
start with here's the thing.
Here's the thing. We do. It's a great start, right? I'm still not feeling the whole, I guess, story element of Tomb Raider. And I don't know. There's a touch of this that always felt so generic for me.
Yeah, there's definitely a touch of that here.
It's and it's so difficult to break out of that. And like I feel we're sort of plodding along, following that formula. I think action wise, I mean, what we expect, we can see so far is there. That's what a lot of fans look for. But see, it's difficult. Now I got two things against me. One is not being a Tomb Raider fan by trade. Two is what are the hallmark things to base this on. So when I'm approaching this movie, I'm not even really coming at this of how faithful is this to X game or how faithful is this to X amount with the plot. To me,
right.
To really sell this to me, what would really make me get into it would be if it managed to marry those two elements. That is the action that it's known for, and really bringing in those strong plot foundations. Make me care enough about the story, characters involved in the theme, and I could get into it.
Right, and for me, I did not enjoy this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go right off of what you said there, because I agree. There has to be heart and passion in what they're doing, and this felt so generic, paint by numbers, and just so action, video game action movie generic.
Yeah.
In the line at the end when she's holding up the guns and she's saying, "I'll take two," was so cringy. Oh my! I cringe. I was like, oh, I physically had a cringe look on my face. I'm like, oh my god, that's so bad.
You highlight, I think, the soulless element here. I think there's this big assumption that if you're doing the adaptation, if you just bring hey, this is tied to the game, hey, this is tied to the game, that's all the soul it needs. No. Have that tie, but what makes it special, bringing it to the big screen, is when you make those ties, when you go a little further to really separate this. If I want to see a game in a big screen, look, give me a controller and let me just, in a console, I'll just hook it up to a movie theater screen. Make this a genuine adaptation. What makes this me not playing the game, or else I'll just go play the game and get the same thing.
And we're going to talk about something here in a little bit. And again, it's a movie, it's a comic book adaptation going into, I know I said it wrong, whatever, going into a TV show, and how they're doing it right. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But and there's not a lot of examples of video game adaptations. I get it right that time. Video adaptation. Shut up. Video game movies. Shut up.
No, I'm shut. I'm shut.
Making good video game movies. You have to go back to the 90s. It's hilarious because you have to go back to Mortal Kombat, and it's not even that great of a movie, but it is an adaptation done well.
It is.
And at this point, it's like the Transformers, the movie, the old 80s cartoon movie, where they had no idea how successful this was going to be, but it just was. And it's just part of culture. It's part of 80s culture. Now, that movie is 90s culture.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so great. And I went and saw that thing 5 times in the theater. Oh, I loved it. And, that came out when MK3 was out, and just they couldn't have came out at a better time. But it's like what you said. There was passion in this. There was heart in that movie.
Yeah.
At least enough. You could tell they cared. You could tell they tried making a good movie, and there wasn't there wasn't a generic setup as well, you do this and this and this and this, and that's what you do in these movies. No, but and a lot of people didn't like what they did with Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and which is some of the people's favorite story, is just the story between them, and just kind of made them under mind control and stuff, and they were bit players, but people were still okay with that because everything else was good, and the action was good, and what you wanted was a good, compelling story, because there was enough there from Mortal Kombat to have that. You have to get your characters right. And they did that, at least for the main characters, and they kind of copped out with Scorpion and Sub-Zero, but they still weren't wrong. They were just not how people would have necessarily wanted them. But there was a good excuse for it, and you gave them good action, and you had to have good action in that. And they got a lot of professional martial artists who could act as best as they could get. And there was a couple of them that could, and I can't remember the chick's name. She couldn't. I'm surprised she could do a cartwheel in real life, but it was good.
Oh yeah.
And it was fun, And was it cheesy? Yes, but it was cheesy in all the right ways. I mean, when I saw this Tomb Raider trailer and she's doing the jump from the boat, I'm just like, that is ridiculous. This is taking me out. And then when they did the second jump when she's on the old plane wing, that was better. And this just, I feel like what they gave us so far were the best scenes of that movie.
Yeah, it's unfortunately one of those cases, right, where you do trailers and you pretty much spoil the best stuff.
Right, and I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah,
and they're doing a better job of covering this stuff up. But I think we've got a pile of shit here. I really do. And a lot of people are complaining about the actress, and a lot of people are complaining that she doesn't have huge boobs, and I don't care about that.
I'm
not looking for that from this movie, and they never had to do that with Angelina Jolie.
They never did.
No. And in fact, I think in the second one, they barely even gave her any extra girth there at all in the second one. But it was clear in the first one. But they didn't have to do that. That was okay. I would say that so far, Angelina Jolie has seemed so far to be the better of the two. Of course, obviously, I've seen 2 movies with her in it, even though I don't remember one of them. But I'm fine with this actress in large part. In fact, she looks like a more physical person. I'll give her a bonus on that. I've seen a lot of comments about lack of boobs. I've seen a lot of comments about how she seems like she's really like 12. And if they're trying to make a franchise on that,
dang.
Yeah, I know. I don't really get that. She does seem very young. But if this is the beginning of a franchise and they say the legend begins here, or whatever it's saying in there, okay, that's fine. I don't think they'll get past this movie. I don't see a trilogy coming out of this. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, we'll review it. I mean, is that safe to say? We haven't actually talked about that, but I think that's safe to say, right? We're going to review this one.
Safe to say. Definitely. I'll agree. I'm down for that.
Because we don't normally get into we have a lot of movie stuff, we have a lot of video game stuff, and we don't get into meshing them too much. And we actually have the opportunity with this one.
Sweet.
I'm not hopeful.
Same. Bad history, man. Bad history and uphill fight. All we got.
I'll take 2. Oh my god. It's so bad. Did you cringe?
I did. I did.
It's so bad.
It's just. Look, don't do those. Leave that alone. So hey, you know what? Cringes, horse necks, giraffe necks, whatever we run into. This is going to hit 3/16/2018. Right now. So we'll see where this goes.
Yes.
All right.
And it's going for a 1-week release. That's what it's
Moving on into hype territory, though, something that is a little more enduring. Star Wars, piece of news here. Apparently, Mark Hamill let slip a possible release date for the Episode 8 trailer.
This is why, by the way, besides him being Luke Skywalker and his role as the Joker in the animated Batman movies, this is why I love Mark Hamill. I just want to throw that out there. I hope he's right. I hope he was right, and I hope they tried yelling at him, and he's like,
"Right." It's like, yeah, whatever.
I'm Luke Skywalker. What are you gonna do?
Right. So it'd be awesome if he is right. If he did, just really, just drop a quick spoiler. The whole deal emerged. He was asked by a fan on Twitter when we get the new trailer for Episode 8. Mark Hamill, he replied, and he said, "Hey, watch Monday Night Football on Monday, October 9th, for no particular reason at all."
Yep.
Golly. And by the next day, the tweet had gotten deleted. He got asked about it again, and he said, "I have no idea. Disney is going to announce when this is ready."
I love the fact that somebody, I'm sure he gets asked constantly, and then one day somebody just asks, and he answers. And he's just like, yeah, October 9th. That's why I hope it's true.
Same. That's grand, man.
He's just like, here it is. So, of course, Monday Night Football, and that's why I think it's true, because Monday Night Football's, that's ESPN. ESPN's owned by Disney, and football's not doing so great so far this season. I don't get it, go Pack. I'm watching them every week. I don't know. But, you're not a football fan, so.
No.
You're what is it, a footy fan, right? For the real football.
Oh, yeah. Now you're talking Man U 3-0. No, I say that. I'm not a Man U fan. Let's get that out of there. More Arsenal, Leicester City. I could go on all day about that.
Watch your footy ball.
Yeah.
I watched it during the Olympics because like
that counts.
The first week that's all they play. I think if I remember correctly.
No, that counts. That counts.
Yeah, I have nothing against soccer, but I like my America. I like my America football.
America.
My American football giants. There's a great line. You don't even know what that's from, do you?
No, I don't.
That's all right then.
I'll just take cheese heads and run with it.
There you go.
That's all I got. That's all I got.
But this is great, and it sucks it was gone the next day.
Yeah.
You can almost see what really happened here if it is in fact the truth. And they're like, yeah, Mark. You can just see Disney just pulling off.
Yeah.
Kathy Kennedy. Yeah, you can't do that.
Grand.
He's got a chip on his shoulder.
Oh, he does.
He does it playfully because he's not thrilled with what they did with Luke. But you can just see it. You just see it in the way he talks and the things he does. He's got a little bit of chip on his shoulder.
And that's why this fits so well. One reason, at least for me, this was a little refreshing. I know it's a short snip of news, but we're in such a hyper sensitized environment right now for media and release dates and structure and production and holding things down and not letting this out in what you tweet and what you say on social media. I really think we lose track of fun with this sometimes. It's all right. Sometimes if a trailer date slips or whatever else, all the more to it. People are going to goof around and have their fun with it, but it's welcome to me.
It's also entirely possible that this was planned. And
of course.
Catherine Kennedy's like, next time somebody asks, go ahead and put it out there, but then get rid of it. So, that's entirely possible too. But I mean, I like how this story looks, and I just hope it's true. I hope it comes out October 9th. He's, all this stuff with Mark Hamill and Twitter aside, God damn, release that trailer already. Jeez.
Right on.
Because for episode 7, we had like 2 small versions of the teaser trailer, and then they came out with the other teaser trailer, and then they came out with the behind the scenes, and then right around that time, right around early October, they came out with the last trailer. So we're already a trailer short.
Man.
Just release it already. Everybody wants to see this. I wonder why they're waiting so long.
I don't know.
I wonder if it's going to be revealing. I'm hearing so many rumors now about this movie. They're everywhere.
Oh, I mean, this is going to be autopsied and dissected from 58,000 different angles anyway. So
I remember I was talking to my brother about this. We grew up as Star Wars fans. I mean, he's been a bigger fan than I have up until probably the last year or so. I mean, when you're laid up and you're rehabbing from near death, you got time on your hands. And so I was reading a lot of Star Wars stuff. So, but I remember this is like really early on for episode 7. Like I think they're in early production. So pre-production's been done for a little while. And there's leaks everywhere. Just everybody's leaking everything about what this movie is. And I remember reading the first leaks for the script, and I remember reading them like, there's no way this is it. Somebody's making this up. And since then, and I remember telling my brother about it. I was like, well, I read this, and he's like, well, that would suck. I'm like, yeah, I know. That would be horrible. And there's all these different leaks and all these different, spoilers of the script. The first one I read was right. I remember leaving the theater like, that was right. Holy shit. And I discredited it immediately because Han Solo died. Like, there's no way. There's no way. By the way, spoilers, Han Solo dies in episode 7. If you haven't watched it yet, sorry. I'm sorry, but not sorry, actually.
You're not.
But that was it. I remember sitting down with my brother here sometime in the last couple months. We're having dinner, and I'm like, Matt, that's his name, Matt. Or I'm just making up a name, maybe. I don't know. But I'm like, that was right, dude. Remember that spoiler I was telling you about? That was right. This was spoiled for us like 2 years in advance.
Brutal.
We knew most of this, but it actually been so long that I didn't remember until after I got out of the movie theater. I'm like, wow, that first one was correct. I mean, and it had a lot of other stuff too, but it was the Han Solo death where I just completely was like, whatever, that can't be right then. I think it talked about BB-8. It talked about Chewbacca. I think it said Chewbacca lost an arm, which was a long-standing rumor for Episode 7.
Huh.
But Kylo Ren being Han's and Leia's son. I think there was more about Luke Skywalker though. So actually, now that I'm thinking about that more, it wasn't completely accurate, but for the most part, it was right. And was that movie spoiled for you before you saw it?
No, it wasn't. And part of this is probably because I really just didn't put my ear to the ground at all. You know, I remember the original announcement that it was going to be happening. Of course, just slowly saw the trailers that was coming out. You know, I sort of purposely disengaged from trying to hear. Like, I didn't search for it. I didn't go look or anything else.
I couldn't not. I had to. I was freaking Inspector Gadget on everything with that thing. I was all over him. I mean, come on. I haven't seen these characters in 30 years. Give me something.
With good reason.
Give me a snippet.
With good reason.
You know what? One of the coolest things, I talk about this because this is pre-production. One of the coolest things, if you don't have the DVD, and I think you can actually find a shorter version of this on YouTube. One of the cooler things that came out with that, it's on the DVD, and it's a longer version of it. When they all sat down, when the cast all sat down, and they did their first reading of the script. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't.
And Mark Hamill narrates because he has no lines in the movie. And they've even got there's pictures of this. They've even got R2-D2. They've got a droid sitting with them in this huge circle, and it's just a wonderful. It's like the first time they all sat down and read the script together and read through it. It's just great.
Cool.
It's pretty awesome to see. If you haven't seen that, you can find a short version of it on YouTube. They may even have the full version out now. It's obviously not. It's not the full script. They don't make you sit through 2.5 hours of script, but it's just pretty cool. And just to see the way that the actors are reacting to the fact that they're sitting down and they're doing this is like, wow, yeah, this is because honestly, that's where there's pre-production stuff for the actors. That's where it really. Here we are sitting. Interacting, reading our lines with each other.
That's where it kicks in.
Star Wars, and it's just amazing to watch.
That's cool. Slick.
Yeah. So I guess I kind of went off there a little bit.
No, I'm all for it. I'm all for it, man. Hey, but there's something else. It's okay because you're gonna get set off again here. I'm gonna re-trigger you.
There you go.
This is pretty cool. And we've been talking about this for a couple weeks. As we mentioned Blade, we say this in the very same breath as, of course, that's The Punisher. The Punisher trailer was released by Netflix this week. Wow. Here we go.
This thing is great. As much as Logan deserved the trailer of the year, I think, because it came out originally in late 2016, this deserves trailer of the year for this year.
Yeah.
I can't think of one that comes close. I really can't. This thing was amazing.
You know, most trailers and whatnot we're pulled out of the immersion and then slowly pulled back in. You know, you walk through the scenery of production and everything else and set up the character. What hit me about this one immediately that I just loved, that's so Punisher, and you know from his just so broken past and whatnot, is just this, even the first cuts, the first cut of at home, the pictures. He has his mailbox, basic everyday things, but that meant so much for him. Then there we go, we start right in it.
This had me in the first few seconds.
Same,
because it had the song. I believe I should know this. Correct? Please forgive me if I'm wrong. "To Live Is to Die." I believe it was Cliff Burton's last song with Metallica. No, I'm sorry, same album, but no, this was. I had it wrong. This is what's the name of this one? I'll have to look it up. Oh, that's horrible of me. But that's off the same album. But it had the song in there from "And Justice for All." Hits me right in the childhood feels. That was the first album I ever bought. This is the title song from that, or not title one, but this is the most famous song from that album. One, I believe it is. And just as soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh my god!
Yeah.
It went old school Metallica for the Punisher. And the way that it worked, the way that the cuts and the audio worked with the song it was great. And if you do that wrong, it feels so hokey, but it didn't here. It felt completely appropriate,
right,
and it fit.
Right. No, it did.
Yeah, but it had me right there in like 3 seconds. As soon as I heard that, I was like, "Oh, here we go, here we go." What, that song's 25 years old?
Yeah, man.
Something like that. And jeez, so good.
Now, this is a real winner in so many ways, and I think a question you had posted, and I think one for us to think about too, is like how come this adaptation of Punisher is getting so prolific? Like, what's making this blow up so much?
Right.
I
would have to say there's a lot of reasons for it, but John Barenthal, I mean, if you follow him, a great actor. Obviously, I love him from The Walking Dead, and I know you have not seen much of The Walking Dead, but just for this actor alone, it's worth watching the first 2 seasons. This feels like a rebirth for him, because this is like the character Shane that he played, but it's like a reincarnation, and the characters are very similar in a lot of ways. But the guy he gives off this aggressive emotion, and I think that's a lot of it. He's so good in this, in the research, and he's been interviewed countless times talking about the research he's done to do this right for former military, because this character is obviously former military, but he's gone and he spoke to so many people about what's it like having been through war, and what's it like having PTSD and in dealing with these things. He's done so much research, and it's just like he's openly said I want to get this right for anybody, no one more than the military,
right?
And to get this character right for that. And it just, you can see the dude has got serious acting chops and depth.
He does,
and you see it. And overall, I think it's him. And because we've had other versions of this character, obviously. And the Dolph Lundgren one is 80s garbage. Which, if you go watch that trailer and match it up with the Thor Ragnarok retro trailer, they'll probably be eerily similar. And then there was the one that came out in the early 2000s, and that one was better. That was I forget the gentleman's name who did the acting for that. He's a great actor. He was a good choice, but they didn't really do the story as much justice. There was potential there, but this you saw with Daredevil season 2, and it's there. They've got it, and which is funny because again, he doesn't have. He's ripped and he's got like 5% body fat, but he doesn't quite have that Punisher look and feel physically. Right. But he brings it out in every other way.
He does, and I think that shows that's all right. I think the very start of the superhero era, this idea of being in as close as you can to direct physical contrast to said character, that's what brings these to life. But I think we've been slowly proven wrong. When you have character with this much of a broken past, like that much depth, you find somebody that can really bring that out. That makes waves, that ripples. This takes me back a little bit to Nolan's Dark Knight. Of course, our performance from Joker, it was very, very much like that. You don't have the same type of course, physical things to worry about with Joker, but again, that character came to life from the way that role was done, and that's always going to be in the halls of epic as a result.
Right. So, I think that's a lot of it right there. Is you've got, and for those of you who, similar to myself, who've watched part, if not more, complete history of John Barenthal's acting, he does this. This is what he does. And again, going back to his role in The Walking Dead, Shane was in 4 issues of the comic. And they extend, but they loved what he did so long they put him in for 2 seasons of the show, and the relationship that he had with the Rick Grimes and that Shane had, they extended it and they made it so much more, and just the way those 2 actors worked off each other. No, he's for real with this stuff, and he's got his home. We were talking about this before the show. This has potential, I think, of being the best Marvel show on Netflix. Daredevil is pretty good. I think this guy can bring this home to make it the best, though. He might be the best non-movie related part of the Marvel universe.
Oh, definitely.
Its potential's there.
And it's something that echoes so much today. Especially With our generation, the two generations we're looking at, between this age range, war is something very current, but it's not just the critique on war, of course, or some really loose topic like that. You got people dealing with some real screwed up stuff. PTSD is very real. The effects of either war or having an extremely violent situation completely upend you. That's not something that is foreign to a lot of people now, and I think that's really going to make a darn strong statement. So I will be catching this from the bat. I cannot wait to talk about it with you.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be all over this one.
Yeah.
This is Now it's kind of funny because one of the questions I have is here's the thing. Let's take this at face value. Let's say this wasn't even a comic book character. It is, and we'll talk about that in a moment. What if it's not though? But we understand what the premise of the Punisher is, which is that this character. I mean, he's a killer.
Yeah,
he's not a nice guy. He's not doing this to be a hero.
Right.
It's only until recently, in the last several years, where they've really given this character more depth. Where they've grown in the Marvel universe, where like he idolizes Captain America, which is something that recently played a role in Secret Empire,
right?
Which is interesting because that's kind of tying into where he's going to get the War Machine armor, which is that's going to be so great. But again, looking past that, but you understand what the character is, though, and I think there's something to say because the Punisher as a character himself has always, the popularity of the character has always had ebbs and waves and two extremes. And let's go back to the 90s. I followed the Punisher Warzone comic from start to end. I think they did 25 issues of it. It's a long time ago. But at that point, that he had 3 comics out a month, which is only rivaled, I believe, at least for Marvel, by the X-Men series and Spider-Man.
Right.
But then there's been times when his runs, all of them, are completely canceled. The guy, he either soars or he flattens. And I've always been really, it's like, why does that happen?
Right.
And I think a lot of it might be with where we are as a society. I think might dictate part of that. I've always tried to figure out, and right now, I mean, this character and this type of character could not even be a comic book character, but this kind of character would be extremely popular right now.
Oh yeah.
And again, without him being from Marvel, and they were still releasing this series of a person in this position, I mean, they do not mince words on this at all. He's going after the government. He's going after Homeland Security. He's going after the CIA. He's going after the FBI. And he's going to work with Micro. And he says, "I got one condition. I'm going to kill them all." And it's like, whoa. But only for a second, because I'm loving what I'm seeing. I will forgive this because I'm loving what I'm seeing so much. And I think part of that might be where we are as a culture at the time.
Yeah.
Because I could totally see other times where this would not work at all.
Right.
What do you think about that? Yeah,
I mean, this is all about the type of soil. It's kind of the idea I was speaking to a moment ago, that you plant something in. I think a successful show or an unsuccessful show is as much of a product as direction and casting and time and setup and viewership, all that stuff, as much as it is a product of the current culture of the day. If you have an environment that nurtures that, or that allows that, or that speaks to something either really positive or really negative, or maybe somewhere in between, but people see about what's happening around them, that resonates. And as much as we like detachment, that is something that is of course not completely based in our world. We've had this tendency to sort of blur that line. We're moving that detachment closer and closer towards a sense of realism. That realism is, we're still basing that so closely to now, so closely to the today, but it's just detached enough but this would never happen in our world, but no one would ever take it quite that far. But we wouldn't quite...
No, this is obviously not reality. But
of course.
I think people love the fact that you're looking at these topics and you're looking at these things and you have somebody who's just like, man, you fuck up, you're dead.
Pretty much. Moreover, in that no matter how base that might sound off the bat, that has an appeal to it. the complexities and intercontinental solutions and bilateral talks and all this. A lot of people just don't have the appetite for that. It's the simpler it is to solve something, or the simpler a proposition, I think the more appealing, because it's something people can get, they can wrap their mind around it easily, they can grasp it, and there's not all this fluff and extra stuff you need to know about it. So that it has a very instant, really visceral appeal about it, and I see where it can catch traction.
Yeah, I don't know if it was intended or not. It's very hard to time these things, just because, at least from a TV or movie standpoint, because production is at least, and if you're doing a good show, if you're putting a lot of stuff into it, you're looking at a year endeavor at least.
Right.
What was that? Daredevil season 2 came out at least 2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right about that? And that was in production for probably about a year before that. So, but they're striking when it's hot, and people, I think a lot of people want this kind of solution to things right now. Obviously, in a fantasy world, nobody wants anybody to go out and start killing government officials, even if they are dirty. Even if, nobody wants a mass murder. Well, maybe a few people do, but don't listen to them. In fact, if you know anyone like that, get away from them.
Please.
Yeah, and maybe call somebody.
Yeah.
but yeah, watching a lot of social media on this, because I was really interested to see what people loved about this. And a lot of people got into the debate of hero or not a hero.
Yeah.
Is the Punisher a hero? So now let's talk. So we're talking about that from an outside perspective of it not being a Marvel character, and let's get back into that. He is obviously, clearly, he's been around since the 70s. He's a Marvel character, and I think a lot of people are excited that they're getting the feel for this character. So this time, at least so far from everything we've seen, and we've seen a lot. We've seen a lot of Punisher so far. I think that's part of it. What do you think, though? Do you think the Punisher's a hero? Let's talk about this on the basis of what they're doing here.
He's the hero we want, not the hero we need. And I say want because he is that instantaneous solution. There's arbitration, the system, the justice system. So many things go a much longer route than I think a lot of people prefer. This idea of instant justice. Hammurabi's Code, eye for an eye, the whole killer be killed, is a very instant, simple, gratifying way to solve everything. So, from a public perspective, yeah, he's wanted. Needed, though, as far as an appeal to actual justice, to actual process, no. So I know that is a very dual answer, but I think that's the very thing you're going to see, that sort of dual conflict. What happens to the justice system when you run across a character like this who doesn't just have motivation, who has the ability and skills to be able to execute it consistently? Not just one-offs, not just a few scattered cases, but who's making this a focused mission to do.
And I'm thinking about this, and you unfortunately, I think, have not seen all of Luke Cage yet, right?
Correct.
You need to watch that, because you're missing, especially for this conversation right now. So we're going to stop here. We're going to just go watch that for 10 hours. And Luke Cage got a lot of praise for its commentary on minorities and where they are with society. Right. Now, it didn't get too preachy. It definitely didn't shut up, though. But it walked the line, and it walked it well, and there was a lot of the discussion about the show and what it had to say. The Punisher could do that as well. Do you think they will? Do you think that, because Marvel in large part avoids these topics, but they've delved into them every once in a while. You definitely have a character here where they could really delve into it and make a lot of commentary.
It's more the Netflix, I think, side of things, especially that really has the opportunity to do this. I don't see how you don't do that with this kind of series. Now, even if you're sort of skating minority issues and whatnot, I mean, brokenness, trauma, especially post-traumatic stress and whatnot, those are too hard-hitting to sort of just say, hey, this is here, Easter egg, and then just walk away like it doesn't exist. I think even if it's brief, you're sort of guided along an exploration of that. I don't see how you don't do it. And I don't see how you don't bring up some of those hard questions with this.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. Either way, this looks great.
Yeah.
I didn't answer. I didn't answer the question on my end. I can't disagree with you too much. Ultimately, sometimes it's definitely it's nice to see justice served in such a cold and demanding fashion as how the Punisher does it.
Yeah.
Realistically, this guy's not a hero at all, though.
No, and again, that comes down to want need. Long term, there's a very destructive element that's introduced with that. It sort of crumbles. Again, it's nice to gorge yourself on that like cobbler and ice cream you don't need right off the bat, but then you keep doing it, and then you realize now you got diabetes, and now there's a lot of other worse stuff. So and that's so bad because I love
in this
cobbler
case it's
and ice
diabetes
cream.
when somebody went on a killing spree and then they snap out of it and they're surrounded by dead bodies and blood.
There you go.
Is that what you like? I probably went a step or two too far on this one.
Better luck next time. No, man. But no, yeah, we'll definitely chomp into this one. Can't wait. And we'll see where
November.
it goes. Good stuff.
Even though they're trying to hide that, which really I don't understand. They're trying to hide the release date. Maybe they're going to push it back. Everything's saying November, though. In fact, I think Netflix even has said November, but for some reason in the trailer they're not. So it better be November because I've heard so much of it saying November. So
right,
better do it. I'm looking forward to my Punisher and my Thor.
All right.
In November.
Also,
now, wouldn't that be awesome if Punisher showed up in Thor? No, that won't happen.
we're too.
That would ruin both of them.
It would. It would. It's like we're trying to bring this huge like multiverse story arc into like something very Earth based. No. But all right,
that'd be hilarious if Punisher did show up in Thor Ragnarok and the Hulk was like, "Dude needs to chill."
It's just
he's way too upset.
Yeah, well, the crossovers wouldn't work, and it would be great to see Hulk saying that of all people. The irony, man. All right, digging it.
Okay.
Moving along, something else also in November, since that seems to be a flashpoint of the month. DC has something in store. This is for the WB series. Now, Chris and I, we don't follow these ourselves.
What's this?
This is for the Crisis on Earth X crossover.
Oh,
this is
yeah.
And the WB series, Supergirl, Arrow, Flash. If you keep up with any of these, this is something you want to tune into. This is going to air November 27th and the 28th. I think Arrow is going to get slightly pushed out of its slot for that night. But yeah, this is going to be actually picking up something right from Comic Continuum about Earth X. It was basically pretty much a parallel Earth in the pre-Crisis multiverse for DC. Not too sure exactly everything they're going to be hitting for story content or what they're going to flip or change, but I think everyone saw this coming a mile away that these shows were going to converge more at some point. You've already had a lot of cooperation between Flash and Arrow. Now we're bringing Supergirl over into that, and
I think there's four of them. There's the group from the future. I'm sorry, guys. I'm practically ignorant on this one. Correct me on this, but yeah, they've done like crossovers between all four shows.
Yeah,
before.
No, they have, and if anything, they've kind of been on a touch and go basis, but they're actually going to sit down and hammer out a subplot. So, really haven't actually seen one of the taking one of the major comic arcs and just seeing how they hammer that out on the WB shows.
Have you watched any of this to any length?
I've seen some of Arrow, some of Flash, and I've seen like an episode of Supergirl. I think
we're eerily similar as far as what we see.
Yeah, it's just like I have, we're those guys that come around and there's like you can have a sampling of caviar or something like a taste test. That's it though.
I watched most of season 1 of Arrow on Netflix a few years back. I've watched several of The Flash, and I've seen a couple Supergirls. The last show, which I hear is actually the most fun, which is almost crazy with how they deal with time travel. I haven't seen it. These things are on Netflix. Again, I apologize. It's just it's those things. I mean, when we started getting into the fall lineup, and I've got so much TV already. I've got, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm somehow going to have to fight through Inhumans this year.
Yeah.
I hear that's going to be a struggle as well. What there was Legion last year. Now we're looking at New Warriors, Cloak and Dagger. It's just like, But those aren't out yet. But even with the other shows like Walking Dead and everything, it's like, man, what 4 hours a week in one night with these? Oh man,
It's rough.
and maybe when I'm doing laundry,
Yeah.
I don't.
Some
It's like I'm gonna have to multitask this.
Yeah, some of these are best just to follow from afar. I mean, I'll look for some news on this one. I'm not going to delve into these though.
And I know friends who love these shows.
Oh yeah,
I have friends who they're like, oh, dude, you are missing. I mean, I wasn't even gonna watch The Flash until I just had a friend who's like, he practically like went Clockwork Orange on me, and it was gonna sit me down and glue my eyes open and make me watch it. And so I watched like I think most of season 1, and I'm like, hey, that is really good. He's like, yeah, you're gonna watch the rest of me. I don't think so. And you get all pissed at me. Like, I can't do it. I only have so much time.
That's what it comes back to, man. Boy, oh boy.
Supergirl, I was disappointed in though.
Same.
That was kind of sad.
And I think that is a struggle because when you have so many characters cut from the same cloth, right? This would go for Superboy as well.
You mean what, Smallville?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I can never help but associate Superman's villains with them, and like I know that they have a few of their own semi-exclusive villains, but not always. I mean, they pretty much always somewhere cross back into Lex Luthor, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So I don't.
Smallville deserves its own show from us, if we're ever going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Which had its hits and misses for sure. That was 10 years it went, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Long.
That's a lot of Smallville.
I thought this was supposed to be small. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
sorry, we accept your corny joke. I had a dad earlier, so.
Thank you. And it wasn't even Acme branded, so.
All right, let's talk about the next crappy thing.
You said it's funny you mentioned because this could be crappy.
This is crappy.
These really sort of rolling together. A couple pieces of gaming news, both mech related. First one is the new Zone of the Enders has been announced. There's an official trailer for that. This instantly the thing this frame puts me in mind at least was the PlayStation 2 days and the releases of these. This is going to be called Zone of the Enders, the Second Runner, MVRS.
Even that's crap.
Yeah, and ZOE got solid ratings when this was out. This was really the hyper futuristic anime, just totally off the wall, crazy like mech action. And if you're into that, cool. This is probably your jam.
No, it's not cool, but
you're like no. Chris and I.
He says it's cool. I say kill it with fire.
Yeah, Chris and I, we came from a different cut at this time. We were, as far as mech titles we were involved in, definitely, I myself really had this more muted because I was paying way more attention to Armored Core than wherever this was sitting. But I peeked at ZOE. I never owned one. Had some friends who were just diehards for this one. And for some reason, I always hear this game mentioned in the same breath as Xenogears. I don't know why. But, yeah.
Xenogears, by the way, the first one, I didn't play any other ones. This might surprise you. I played Xenogears. Fun game.
It was a good game.
Good game.
It was a really good game. Glad you did.
This is not. This is everything I hate about mech. And what pisses me off about it is that when you start talking about mech, this is what people think of.
Yes, it is.
Which is part of why I hate it.
It's part of the problem. Like there was at one point.
It is part of the problem. It's a big part of the problem.
At one point, I thought that these two could sort of exist side by side in their own parallels, like separate. Like you'd have the super hyper anime stuff in one corner. Cool, do your thing. And then you'd have, the Mech Warrior, the Armored Core, more along those lines in their other. And they just sort of find this happy medium. That'd be it. But no, pretty much this is the first thing you jump to with most mecha, and is what it is. But
yeah, and what it is shit.
Hey, I'm not the original ZOE. While I didn't own it, I did play it. It has solid gameplay. It was fun for what it was, and I try to look at it on that basis. But I admit I have different tinted lenses now, post mech eras and everything. Now that I've seen this stuff blend, I'm not quite as forgiving. I won't be picking this one up. I really don't have interest in reviewing it, to be honest. But
I would, if I had the money, I would pick this up to destroy it and then post it online.
Of it. Oh man! Right now, right alongside this, there is another mech title. This is being developed by Square Enix with a kind of interesting cast of devs. First, the director, that's Mr. Toshifumi Nabeshima. He was shelved shortly before the merger went down with From Software, got absorbed by Katakawa Games. There had been a long-standing rumor that he was going to work on other projects, especially for Square. He never really commented on exactly what he was working on. Well, sure enough, this is what he's been working on. He will be directing it. This is called Left Alive. We haven't seen much action for this yet. We just know it's coming out in 2018, PS4 and Steam. Haven't seen any mech combat. So sort of a bummer. And the couple trailers that are out for this already really purposely have some Armored Core feels in it.
Yeah, they're also very ambiguous.
Very.
And ambiguous.
Very much so.
Ambiguous.
And it's done.
I'll get words right eventually.
Yeah, you keep trying it. If you try it, I'll keep repeating like a recorder. We'll figure this out. There you go.
This is almost feels like an adaptation of what Armored Core was.
Pretty
Obviously,
much.
the director from Armored Core for its entirety.
Yep.
And it is entirety for any of our former Armored Core fans that are listening. You're not getting a 6.
Put him in a pom-pom.
You're not getting one, especially if this guy's not there.
It's this pans more towards the dystopian future, war-torn, very gritty feel. Really don't have a whole lot to say about it at this point. Very little gameplay. Don't know exactly where all of this is standing. The other interesting coin of this is the other two devs. We have some of the crew that worked on Metal Gear, also those that worked on Gundam series. So it's a weird mesh of talent.
Oh my god, there's people who work on Gundam on this?
Yep.
Oh god.
So there's a smorgasbord, this whole press of talent that's absorbed in this. I do want to see some more trailers. How about some more anything? Yeah, I will be following this closer than I will be following ZOE. I will comment on that.
Yeah, you're gonna follow this. I'm not. You're gonna tell me about it. I'll follow The Last of Us 2 and fill you in once you finally play the first
deal.
One. Which, by the way, did you play any of it?
No.
No, you didn't. Yeah.
I tried. Hey. To be fair, my aunt was here. She left early this morning, and when I came home,
she was there all week.
She was there for a whole week, man.
Wow.
I got home from work Thursday. I'm like, hey, sit down. She had another stop she wanted to go do or whatever. Right. So
what you do is next time you do what I do with my cat is I sit him down next to me and he watches me play The Last of Us. That's true story, by the way. He watched that whole game with me. He loved it.
But that's cat logic.
Yeah. Well, he likes killing things, so
I can see it then.
He's all about sneaking up and attacking things. So
I can see it.
This is I didn't know about the Gundam stuff, so now I'm it's already Square Enix, so it's already because I'm not a fan anymore. So here's the thing. So there's a couple ways for me to look at this. You have creators from Gundam and Square Enix who brought in this director from Armored Core and say, we want this feel, but we're gonna, we're creating this game, but we want you to come in and give us the feel, the post-apocalyptic feel that Armored Core had, and maybe that's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to believe, even after all this time, is I want to believe this guy came in and pitched an awesome idea to Square Enix, and they're gonna bankroll it, and we're gonna throw in the Gundam guy because he might be able to help you out a little bit too. And maybe but you're going to spearhead this thing. But what I think's really going to happen is it's like I'm watching Clue here. I wonder how many people catch that reference. Adaptation. What I think's really going to happen is this is going to be some kind of action shooter thing, and you're probably gonna only have like a couple chapters where you're gonna play a mech, and you're not gonna be building mechs and the actions. It's like how in some games where you're running around shooting stuff, and then later on you're in a car.
Yeah.
That's what I think is gonna happen here,
which would suck.
And I'm not gonna want any of it.
No.
So throw it. So I think I'm gonna end up throwing it in with Zone of the Elders.
Zelda.
Or Elders, Enders.
Make it. Let's say Zone of the Elder Scrolls. Why not?
I think that's probably where they came.
Probably.
Zone of the Enders. I think it's gonna end up there. This is.
Oh, man.
And I know I'm in the minority when it comes to mech. I've practically given up on mech now. I don't even like. What are those movies that they came out with now with the giant mechs? I don't even like those.
What was it? Pacific Rim?
Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Get out of here with your Pacific Rim. You're in the right direction, but you're not there yet. The closest thing that I ever see to what I like about mech, and not to get back on Star Wars, is Star Wars. Things like the AT-ATs. And it's AT-ATs. And I don't want to hear anything else about it.
AT-AT.
It's not. It's AT-ATs. That's official. That's from Lucas. Things like the AT-ATs. Now that's awesome mech.
Yeah.
That's dystopian kick-ass mech. And in these dystopian worlds, and where you have your flashy, super fast, pew pew, metrosexual machines.
Metrosexual.
I have no interest in that. And if other people do, that's fine. Except for you're ruining the genre. So it's dumb. I'm really going off on this.
No, hey, I get it, man. I mean, I would love to see, and maybe we'll get some of it from Anthem, but I would love to see a customizable.
Oh no! Don't go down that hole.
I'm trying to. I would love to see at least.
We're not gonna get it.
I would love to see at least some form of mech customization with a hint of realism. That's all I'm going to say about it.
We're going to get it with Anthem, and that's the closest we'll ever get.
You know what? It could happen, but I really want to see what road that takes.
You know why, though? Do you know why that's the closest we'll ever get? Because Armored Core, as great as it was, is just simply more than the average consumer in gameplay wants to get into. And that's why you'll never see more.
It's not the type of investment that gamers are generally attuned to today. That's understood. It's something that started with the narrow subset, and that has a subset that's pretty much zero.
I mean, I've had the pleasure and displeasure at the same time of playing and watching and being a part of, in large part, the evolution of MMORPGs and what they used to be versus what they are now. Yeah. And I have no problem with the fact that they're changing. Personally, I don't like the change, but I get it. They're trying to evolve things to a point where common consumers, non-hardcore consumers, general public can pick up these games and play them. I get it. I don't like it, but I get it. And there's almost not even a home for for these other games. Fine, but you don't be grasping for hope, Ian. It's not there. Anthem's probably the closest we'll ever get.
Hey, it's cool. Look, I made my peace with previous iterations and where AC was currently standing. So no, I'm not going to live on that by any means. I'm well beyond that at this point. If I ever see a little table scrap, a customization get thrown at me as something, cool, worth a look, but I'm not living on that.
This is gonna suck.
And
it's
been sucking
because it which sucks because what you have here is you have the recipe of something that could be great.
Yep.
But it won't be.
That's all it's doing.
And that's all I have to say.
Yeah, that's all right.
At this point, I think that's where I have to leave it.
Love it. Cool. All right. Let's leave game in the shelf because I got an info minute. All right. Today's info minute is all about the Rolling Stone.
The band?
No, the magazine.
Okay. Okay, the magazine.
Yeah,
okay, so we're still in pop culture. Okay.
Yeah, pop culture, music news. If you happen to have really deep pockets, or you're really looking for a pretty ridiculous investment opportunity, you might want to turn your attention to Rolling Stone magazine. The news coming out of here is, well, the controlling stakes for the magazine are now up for sale. This is actually just 1 year after Warner Media sold 49% of the Rolling Stone to BandLab Technologies. This is a digital music company based in Singapore. Of course, the controlling shares remained out, the other 51%, which are now up. Statement was issued from leaders of the magazine, citing that this was a desire to put it in the best position, put the brand in position for future growth. In Rolling Stone, I mean, it's a magazine. It deals with a lot. I mean, it's not just music and culture, but who it reaches. I mean, we're talking more than 60 million people a month. Still tons of online traffic. It's something that's still really relevant. And just really, this just sort of really came right on the dock, and now it's happening. As far as exactly what prompted the move, or if there was something specific, I can't point to an exact catalyst, but I think this is just one of those things you look at business-wise, and it's just been a long time coming. Whenever you see such a large portion of a major magazine or a major brand name like that get sold, it's probably a matter of time for the rest is gone. So,
have you ever bought an issue of Rolling Stone?
I have.
I have not. And so, okay, so that obviously leaves us somewhere.
Yeah. I was going to say,
let's explore that.
I was going to say, I don't know if you read it at the newsstand. Yeah, in fact, I still remember it.
Well, I can't read, so
right. Why'd I even say that?
Although there's sometimes pretty pictures in there. But no, I've never bought one. I mean, there's certainly been a lot of, and while I can't think of any at the time, honestly, the biggest news story, at least of recent history, I can think of for Rolling Stone, was that huge story they got wrong about that rape.
Yeah,
and I don't think they've ever really been able to come back from that.
That was actually cited, I know, in some of the postings for this very thing I'm talking about when they got pulled into that whole deal, and they didn't navigate it well.
And we don't we're not going to get into that, but I mean let's look at that as a example of when you get it wrong and what it can do.
Yeah.
It's interesting because especially right now with where things are, the big newspapers, the big national newspapers are doing really good. They're doing better than they have, I think, in the last 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Because print, a lot of people say, is a dying art. Which, if it was dying, it would have been dead by now. It's just, a lot more people go online, and that's fine. I think a lot of these places have found a home in both. I don't think, like Rolling Stone, I don't think it's going to actually go anywhere. We've gotten past the point where if these things were going to die off, it would have happened.
Right.
Yeah, but that really did hurt it. It really got a lot wrong there, and it dragged some people through the mud. And it's my understanding that there's definitely some horrible things that happened there, but they if I remember correctly, they crucified some people in there that they really shouldn't have in their reporting.
Right.
I don't know, but Rolling Stone, I mean, when you start talking about pop culture, though, I mean, I remember growing up, and I've been around since before TV, and that's a joke. but I mean, I remember going through the stores, and there was a magazine aisle. You remember the magazine aisle?
Oh yeah.
Some places there still is, but it's now a magazine and book aisle.
Right.
But sometimes there was two of them, and especially things like pop culture. There was all these magazines, and now they're just not. And I don't know if Rolling Stone used to and probably still does do some heavy hitting reporting, and that's what's keeping these things alive. Is that reporting that you can't get anywhere else? People with sources and good writers, journalism, which has been a dying art. But I think as far as that's going to die, that's as far as that's gone. I don't know. If I have a bunch of money, which I don't, because I'm not buying Zone of the Ender games yet. So, I don't know if I do this, because I look at Rolling Stone, I'm like, geez, you kind of fall in that category a bit of pop culture that hasn't survived the switch from paper to screen.
Right.
But at the same time, you're Rolling Stone. You've been around for forever. I would almost feel like it falls into the same category as Playboy, which has done so poorly. Like, hey, let's go non-nude, and let's see if that helps. Which means you're grasping for straws that you just shouldn't even be looking at that point.
No, I mean I want to say the hope with this is that wherever it goes, where it gets picked up, is to take the brand in a direction that will help mold better with the lines of where tech is going, with where pop culture is going, and like
Right.
how you get media, how you get this material out, and how it's disseminated. Maybe it could be just a lot of the current holders do not have the answers for that. Hopefully that could be in better hands. I'm not sure, but obviously that's the goal, and it's not just a fluffy idea in the sky. It's what you need to survive.
How many issues of Rolling Stone have you bought in the past?
One, and I still remember the issue. It's Foo Fighters.
Oh, really?
It's the one I've ever bought. And it was honestly, I was just really curious. I mean, I've always been
Great
not,
band.
yeah, for sure. I've always been not just a passing music fan. I'm a musician myself. I adore percussion, especially. I've got a lot of inspirations, and it's a magazine I'd always read about. I said, hey, Foo Fighters, why not? Here, I'll pick this up while I'm picking up EGM. So.
Little FYI about us. Yeah, he does the music and stuff for the show. I can play kazoo, and I don't do that well.
But if I ask you for more cowbell, could you do that?
I can do a cowbell sometimes.
All right.
Sometimes I just the bell and the stick. I just But yeah, so that's interesting. So it's up for grabs.
Yep.
I wonder what happens to it, because I think initially I said I didn't think it could die, but actually I think it probably could.
Possibly. Who knows what?
Do you care?
No. Like
I don't either.
With how liquid we are with media consumership today, and the way brands can sort of like spontaneously develop, some almost even overnight with an online presence. I don't think we're losing some irreplaceable part of culture. The topics and things discussed, maybe the talent and things will change. This will live on in plenty of form and fashion. We're not losing an arm or a leg over that. Rough as that sounds, it's just I think something that was very much synonymous with its time. It really took advantage of the platform, but I obviously can't do that forever.
So let me ask you, which one would be more of a cultural hit? If Rolling Stones died, or if Playboy died?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I want to say...
You wanted to say Rolling Stone, but it's Playboy.
I know it's Playboy. I know it is. I was asking, you pretty much took the words out of my mouth. Like I said, I'd want to lean towards, it's Rolling Stone, cultural, da-da-da-da-da. I didn't even know. It's Playboy, man. Porn.
Playboy.
Porn wins.
Go buy a Playboy. Help them out. Help those actors, help those models out.
Oh, man.
There it is. What did we start with today?
Acme.
We're ending with Playboy.
Acme.
We started with Acme. we started with Terminator, and we're ending with Playboy. That's a good show.
That walks the full mile. If I ever saw it.
It is for free, everybody. There's your free awesome show. The one you'll get from us this year.
And the rest are throwaway shows. Get out of here. No. Oh, man. All right. Good deal.
You want to end the show the way you normally do, but I have asked you not to.
Exactly.
So you don't know what to do.
If anything, you can put this in the blooper reel.
Okay. I'll end it because you always start. All right. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks a lot for listening. That is the end of the show. So next week we're going to have something else for you. We're going to try to have some laughs. We're going to try to make fun of some stuff and maybe even inform you about a thing or two. So, so for the Jagged Edge, this is Chris.
And this is Ian. And Chris, you're not so bad at that official thing. I like it.
All right. We will see you next week.
Peace. Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, there anything to go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but it'd be great if you could throw some support. You can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksongmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Yeah, who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, dig up, and Maybe not mine. Maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We hope to hear from you again later. Take care.